We're going to discuss full Nakuda in the Ela Minor lesson 9 up to so the Rebbe speaks in the Ela Minor that we should be following the ways of the Fidik Rebbe. The Rabbi that we have to make, the Rebbe says that we should get a Yid that has no shaykhs to anything beforehand. Not only that he should say that there's the Eibishter, so Basham the Veld, he should say Hail Oilom. You know, the Veld, there's no different. It's cool, it's nothing else but all the and this is the Avodah of the Rabbi, this is the Avodah of the Fidik Rebbe, and then the Rebbe says in the last, who are we to try to come close to do it the Fidik Rebbe but he says that Rabbi, they set the way for us, and we have to go into this. And then the Rebbe says that Kufa is the Chabibus of the Rashi. That even though we might be very low and very conventional, very small, we don't have shaykhs to the race of Zakin. But one of the young, the Chabibus of the Rashi, is that we were given very big. We ourselves don't have a big shaykhs, but we were given very big oasis that was gallows was in Yanim, and earlier days didn't have shaykhs. And one of this young that I was talking about is that we were able to do this arbit of the Rebbe, bring the Shrin al to bring the Lukus to this low world. Then the Rebbe speaks about what the Fidik Rebbe says that just like the Fidik Rebbe went through so much suffering, and he suffered Toivas Kal Yisrael and four Yidin, etc. So just like he suffered for us, so too he's gonna be able that we're gonna go out of Golos and go out of this Golos. I'm gonna read the Rebbe's Lashon until we get to the end. Yeah. And the Rebbe is going to bring us to a cave to Ken and Oira, and he says he's going to take us out of Golos, and he's going to bring us to a matzah of Oir, and he said for all of this is only Yigoleinu. The Iker is that the Rebbe make us that he's going to connect us to the Eibishter himself, to Ashes, and this is the Imbis HaKavanah of the whole Shtalshness of all the Oilers and of Siluk and Shal Tzadikim. There's the Indian of Istalkus, that Kavanah was, the Kavanah of this Istalkus that we should be able to have a shaykhs to aim to itself, okay? That because through the Indian of Istalkus, see, look how they can come to Kuchabriku. Then the Rebbe says, it's an interesting lesson. The Rebbe says that when he's going to take us out of Golos, B'yad Rama, Ulechol B'nei Yisrael Yeh Or B'Mishmeis, it's going to be light in all the places where Yidden live, which is an interesting lesson. The Rebbe says in many places, everybody knows. But the Chol B'nei Yisrael, is talking before the Golos in Mitzrayim. While they were still in Mitzrayim, it said the Chol was before Yitzis Mitzrayim. By the Mitzrayim was Kodesh. The Yidden was Ur. Rebbe brings in a few places that this Lashon is referring to still in Golos. Even before the Gula is going to be. The Rebbe says that we're going to go out of Golos and we're going to have Ur B'nei Shvaisam, which is referring to Golos. While we're still in Golos. And the Rebbe says we're going to have Ozi Yashin Moshe, B'nei Yisrael, okay? Until the Indian of Havaya Avram Shmei Echad, that there's not going to be any difference between the Indian of Havaya and Name. And all of this, the Rebbe says again, Shekol Zenas Like They Siluk Shal Tzadikim. All of this happens through Salkus of Tzadikim. That the Indian Salkus of Tzadikim, the Rebbe says, is Kasha Yoser, Gam is even more difficult and more hard. Even more than the Churban Beis HaMikdash. But through this, we come to the Geula, and all these mighty things that the Rebbe said is all through Siluk and Shal Tzadikim. Then the Rebbe says, the Kivan, the last few lines of the night, Kivan, as we in the Ali Young that we already went through all these, first in Young, the Fidik Rebbe himself went through. And I don't know what he means by Shin Durgang and the Ali Young. Does he mean also these Giluyim? Or is he talking about Siluk and Shal Tzadikim, the Pashtus? Because the Giluyim is talking going to happen when Mashiach comes. Right? When he takes us out of Golos, right? He takes us out of Golos, but Pashtus Rebbe is talking about Siluk and Shal Tzadikim. That brings about all these mighty things. So he says, being that we went through this, which means we just talked of Yud Shvat. So he named Achshav Eina Dover Tali Elabon Doyrashvi. So now the Indian of Siluk and Shal Tzadikim already happened, and that's going to bring about. That's supposed to bring about the whole Indian, all these mighty Kinyanim. That's going to bring to Mashiach. So now what's left? Only us. It's only our Aveda. It's Tali on us Doyrashvi. And the Rebbe doesn't say what. Okay, the Pashas and the whole mind talk. There's only the Tali Banu, Doyrashvi. Then the Rebbe ends. Period. Then the Rebbe ends. The Niske Zenzich mit Minam, Dolamata in Agruf, Dolamata Masar Tzvachim, V'hu Yigoleinu. The Veniska, we should see Rebbe here, Lamato, like in this world, the Gashmis in this world, in a goof, and Lamato is talking. And who are you going to he's going to take us out of both. So I'm just going to ask a few questions. You can see, we learned the Rebbe's Ha'ara in the bottom, right? The Rebbe was Messiah, the Rebbe wrote Ha'aras on this matter. The Rebbe's own Ha'aras, I'm not talking about the Ha'ara with the numbered Ha'aras, I'm talking about the lettered Ha'aras from the Rebbe himself. Okay? The question is like this. Well, of course, what's Kashrus? We're going to say we should see the Rebbe. The Rebbe is giving a bracha that we should see the Rebbe. And remember, this comes to Hemshech to say that now, being that we have the Inyan of Silukim Tzadikim already, so now what is it totally on? It's only totally on Ostei Rashli. And the Hemshech to that, the Rebbe says, V'niska Zenz. Sounds like a bracha. It sounds like a bracha. But let's think, if the Rebbe would have said, V'niska Zenz with the Rebbe, who are you going to what would be a mistake? We should see the Rebbe. What does that mean we should see the Rebbe? In Shemayim? Of course, Dolamata. Right? The Pashto. Why does it say Dolamata? Just say, V'niska Zenz with the Rebbe. See the Rebbe. Who are you going to Why Dolamata? It's obvious. Of course, Dolamata. Where else are you going to see the Rebbe? Then the Rebbe's mice in Aguf. Okay. So what does it mean, Dolamata? Zenz with the Rebbe. You're going to see the Rebbe. Of course, you're going to see it. How are you going to see it? It's not see it, but Aguf for Pashtos. Okay, and then you can see Dolamata means in a goof. The Rebbe is in a goof. A mud is a very mud lotion. Imagine you tell your friend that I want to see you in a body. Where else am I going to see you? It's a very mud lotion. And then the Rebbe is even nicer. It's not enough that it should be in a goof, but Lamata Masar Tzvachim. What does that mean? Lamata Masar Tzvachim. What I'm saying is, imagine you say after he was moist, he was celebrating Lamata, which means in this world, in a goof. Then he says it's in a goof. And then he's moisim, and that gufa has to be Lamat Masar Tzvachim. Okay, and after that, Kama. And then the Rebbe says, what are you going to do? Let's look at the Rebbe's order. The Rebbe has an order on this sentence. Yeah? The Rebbe has an order on this sentence. Really, the kasha also to the Hemshech beforehand, but the Pashas is on what the Rebbe says right. So let's see in the order of Chavalos. The Rebbe says, Niska Zenzik. On the word Zen, the order of Chavalos, the Rebbe writes like this. The A, Soy for Chesidim. The end of Sefer Chesidim, which is the Sefer Chesidim, he was from the great Yigoleinu. So this Lashon, the Sefer Chesidim, is brought down in the Gilyon HaShas of in Ksubas. That's the first Adam market that the Rebbe is Messiah. And Bamidbar Rabba, Parshi Yates, Perikid Gimel. Also in Medrash Rabba, Parshi in the Chumash Bamidbar. In that part. The Rebbe says, look at those people. On this Indian of Veniska, Zenzik, the Rebbe, Dolamata, the Rebbe says, let's see the Lashon. How much time is it?
Over time,
well, no.
Have everything.
Let's see what the Gemara says. Yeah, the Gemara is talking about at the time that the Rebbe, the Yudi, passed away. What does it say? It's talking over there about Kibbutz Aim, that even after husband passes away or father passes away, there's still the Inyan of Aim, and there's certain things that stays the same even afterwards, etc. So let's see what it says over here. Rebbe, right before he passed away, Amar Lebani Tzarech. He says, I want my children. I need my children. His children came to him. Amar Lehem, Hizaru b'chvoit imchem. Be very careful with the honor of your mother. And what should you do? That just the way it was before, just like there was a candle that was lit where it was, the same candle should be lit now also. Even after Rebbe passes away. Yeah? Also the table should still be set in the same place it was set, and the bed should be set the way it was before. Pashas is in the house. What's the chiddush? Yeah, he's talking about being done the way they were before. It's obviously also, but the same Pashas is saying that even after I pass away, even after Rebbe passed away, there should be the same inyan in the way it was. So that's the Gemara says before. Now later on the Gemara says okay. So then the Gemara gets a little shakmitari over there. Then the Gemara brings this main of the statement of Hez. Right. Right. The Lashon of Rashi over there is, right? The candle should be on the table just like it was when I was alive. Okay? Fine. All these inyanim, my time, what's the reason? Why should they do this? Kol Beishamshi, Havi Osri Lebesik. Every Erev Shabbos, Beishamshi is called Erev Shabbos. Rashi says, why is it called Beishamshi? Because Erev Shabbos, the Indian of Bein Hashmashis is very, very felt. The whole Erev Shabbos, everybody's worried, Bein Hashmashis is coming. So the whole Erev Shabbos, people are talking about Bein Hashmashis. So because the Hashmashis of Erev Shabbos is very, very murgush, is very noticeable, they call Erev Shabbos the house of the sun. You know, like the Indian of Bein Hashmashis. Fine. So he says every Erev Shabbos, Rebbe used to come to his house. Havi also basically. This talking after Rebbe passed away. Hahu Beishimsha, one Erev Shabbos. Was one Erev Shabbos. Hahu Beishimsha. Azoi Shibavta. One of a lady neighbor, came to his house, to the house of Rebbe. Hakarya Abava, and she was calling by the door. She was basically calling out. She was making noise. She was calling. The neighbor came and she was calling by the door. This is after Rebbe passed away. But Rebbe, like it says in the Gemara, was home, even after his spouse. So Amra Amte Shtiku, the Rabbi Yasser. So Rebbe's family's maidservant, right, called out and she said, "Still, be quiet. Rebbe's sitting over here. You're making like still." She called out to the neighbor. She says, "Be quiet. Rebbe's sitting over here." Even the Shama, when Rebbe heard that basically his maidservant revealed that he was there, right? So he stopped coming. From that Erev Shabbos on, the next time he didn't come anymore. Why? Not to make a bad name for the other tzaddikim, for the other great tzaddikim that came before him. That what people say that only such a big tzaddik is able to come after he passed away to come to his house on Shabbos to his family. But the other tzaddikim don't find this one, right? So people are going to say maybe they're not real tzaddikim. Rashi says maybe they're not such real tzaddikim, and that's why they're not able to have such a moedik schus. So and who's the only big tzaddik? Only Rebbe is such a big tzaddik. Everybody else is not such a big tzaddik. Therefore, Rebbe didn't want that people should start comparing and say that other tzaddikim are not so big tzaddikim. Therefore, he stopped coming. Okay, that's Ad Kan Gemara. Now let's look at the Yigoleinu Shas. He brings in the Sefer, adds to this Indian. So in the Gemara, what does the Gemara say? The Gemara says, what does the Gemara say? The Gemara says, doesn't say anything about making kiddush. Right? It just says that he used to come to the house. Right? He used to come, but in the Sefer it says that what happened when he used to come home on Erev Shabbos. That how did he show up? When he used to come to his house, he used to wear his nice, beautiful clothing that he used to wear on Shabbos. That's when he used to come after he passed away, after his spouse, he used to come home. How did he show up? He showed up with his beautiful Shabbos clothing. The same way he used to wear on Shabbos now. Okay? And as opposed to the Tachrichim. Right, that's the same we're going to see in a second. It says that if we're talking about someone who passed away, so how does the person, what type of clothing does the person wear? Tachrichim. So if he's coming, what kind of clothing would you expect him to wear? Expect him to wear Tachrichim, right? So he says no, he was wearing Shabbos clothes. Even though he was wearing Tachrichim, he used to come home Erev Shabbos, and he used to come home with his Shabbos clothes, nice clothes. Okay? And what did he do there? This is all the Gemara doesn't say this. Sefer Chassidus says. He says, "Upoiter Rabbi bekiddush hayoyim," and he would literally be moitzi the oil. Poiter the Rabbi with kiddush. He would make kiddush, and he would be moitzi everybody, even though he was after his spouses. So a person, there's a famous klal that is something that you're not chayav and you can't be moitzi somebody else. Right? How is he moitzi them? So you see, the Sefer Chassidus continues, or according to one of the schos, v'loik shar mason. Not like all the other dead people, right? We have a pasuk that says that dead people are called free. They're free from mitzvahs. Frei, they're frei. They don't mitzvahs. So that's talking about other dead people, not big tzaddikim. But the big tzaddikim, they're not mason. So therefore, the big tzaddikim like Rebbe, he's not chavshim in mitzvahs. He still can do mitzvahs even after he passed away. Okay? And B'meili was able to be mitzvah them, Pasha to be mitzvah them for Kiddush, his family, and the Rabbi. Actually, even a discussion, I'm not going to get into it in this sphere, there's even a discussion. Is the wife of such a tzaddik allowed to marry another man? He passed away.
See again.
Is he, if he's chayiv mitzvahs, so then what's going on here? Akapanim, it's a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. This idea that a tzaddik, even afterwards, still has the inyan of mitzvahs. Okay? The Chidah gets no discussion about the reading Kriyas HaTorah of Haikever of a tzaddik, doing mitzvahs, and all these types of things is not much to that. What he's saying is by grace tzaddikim, you don't have chayiv mitzvahs. Okay. But I had the Gemara. Now let's see the.
How do they know that?
How did the Sefer Chassidim know? Good to Shaila.
Who had Sefer Chassidim?
Who was the Sefer Chassidim?
Yeah.
He was one of the greatest Yishoyim in Germany. He was a tremendous tzaddik, a tremendous makubal, a tremendous placer. He's one in Tosis. I think he's considered Bali Tosis. I mean, his student in the Rekeh was considered one of the big Bali Tosis. Yehuda Chassid also himself, and his Piskei Dinim, his Psakim and his Minhagim are brought down halacha l'maisa in Shulchan Aruch and Minhagim ad hayoyim. There's a lot of stuff we do and we don't do, even though the Poskim for hundreds of years, they don't even know the reason. Because the Yehuda Chassid was so great, there's like whatever he said is Azoy. I'm saying he's considered such a strong koyach in Poskim that even in Yonah that other people disagree or don't understand, etc. It's very
They didn't say they're chayiv.
What?
They didn't say they're chayiv.
They could do the mitzvah.
Yeah, but they didn't know about that every. What
Having
happened?
a chayav, have you made it?
No, but isn't it like
He
you
stopped coming.
No, but he said he
Yeah,
does
he
say.
didn't come. Only
Only
when he comes with Gash.
Right, take the Lashon. I don't know if the Lashon is accurate. I have to see the Lashon is accurate. I don't know if the Lashon is. Okay, come on, that's the first order.
Everything.
So remember,
Yeah.
let's think for a second what the Rebbe
Sounds
said.
like. It sounds like.
This is a very exciting piece, but let's think a little bit. Let's go back to the Maimon for a second. The Rebbe was mitzvahing to this Sefer Chassidim as the first place to check out. On which words? This Gezanz in Rebbe Dolomat and Aguf. Rebbe is mitzvahing to the Sefer Chassidim. That brought down Ksubis, Kesher to what? To after Rebbe Elf, he used to come to his family, and the Sefer Chassidim. I mean, the Rebbe is not mitzvahing to Ksubis. The Rebbe is mitzvahing to the Sefer Chassidim. So the Gemara only says that he used to come to his house. But in Yosef, that he used to make kiddush and point to everybody. Beautiful clothing. We're going to get to see what that means. The Rebbe's been signed the second amount of walking. The Rebbe's been signed. Let's see what the Medrash says. The Medrash in Chukas. The Kasha to Moshe Rabbeinu, right? The Abish says, "L'chein lo yisavios hakol hazeh," and Hashem told Moshe that he's going to have to stay in the Midbar, and he's going to pass away in the Midbar, and Yeshua is going to bring the generation, the younger generation that wasn't Chayta, right? They're going to go to Eretz Yisrael. Yeshua is going to bring them. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to have to stay in the Midbar. Okay. So there's a whole discussion in the Medrash beforehand. What was Moshe's Chayt? And it brings a mashal. The Chayt wasn't the same as the Yid. The Yid did a very serious thing. Moshe Rabbeinu was a very small Chayt. And Aliba de Emes, the real truth is that even for that Chayt, wasn't really enough of a portion discussed. And the Medrash itself said a little bit earlier that that's not really a good reason for Moshe Rabbeinu not to be able to allow him to go to Eretz Yisrael. Here it says, what's the real reason? What's the real reason? The Abish told me, with which way or without which reason, or how do you expect, in which way do you expect to go to be allowed to enter Eretz Yisrael? What was the Abish telling me? Mashal Raya, the Mashal for a shepherd. That a shepherd goes to Pasha, right? And he has to go with the sheep to pasture in the fields, and the sheep got captured. Some came and attacked or whatever, and he took the sheep away. Okay? So Bisharoya, now the Roya, I guess it doesn't say what happened over there, but the Roya is now back in the city. He wants to come to the palace. It's the king's own shepherd. It's king's sheep, and it's the king hired shepherd to take care of the sheep. The shepherd comes back to the city. No more sheep. He comes back to the palace, and he wants to come inside. The Melech tells him, Amalei Melech, if you're going to come, what are people going to say? What are people going to say? You captured the sheep. The Mepharshim explains, doesn't mean that where are they now? If he captured them, so why doesn't he have them? It means say, what do you mean he captured them, that he's at fault. Why? Because if they got captured, so why are you back here? You should be fighting the ones who captured them and bring them back. You should be matriach to bring the sheep back. And the fact that you came back without sheep and you're not continuing trying to bring them back means that you're responsible for the fact that they didn't come back. So the Melech told him that's what people are going to say. And therefore, you can't come into the palace. Okay? Fine, let's read it up right. Afkan, Is it your shell? Is this going to be praiseworthy for you? That you took out all the Yidden from Mitzrayim, buried them in the Midbar, and now you're bringing a new generation into Eretz Yisrael? Now people are going to say that the Dera Midbar doesn't have a Chelek L'Lav. You realize a very interesting thing over here in the Medrash. It's only what people are going to say. The Melech doesn't say, the Melech didn't tell the Roya that he should go back at the sheep. He didn't tell them. He just said what people are going to say. Also over here, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that is this going to be praise for you? It's not going to be a praise for you. Because people are going to say, you took the Yidden out of Mitzrayim, you buried them in the Midbar, you allowed them to sort of say, die in the Midbar, and you left them behind, and now you bring a new dirt. So that's not going to be a shavach for you, and that's not going to be praiseworthy for you. Right? Ella, the Abishah tells Moshe to hey B'tzila, you should be with them, stay next to them, stay with them in the Midbar. And Moshe Rabbeinu basically says that he should be buried in the Midbar with the Yidden, with the Deinah Midbar. You're going to come back with them to Eretz Yisrael when Mashiach comes. Okay, that says it's talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, that he's going to come at the head of the nation. It's talking about the nation that was buried in the Midbar. Okay, and this is talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. So, he says, this is why the Pasuk says, you're not going to bring this nation. You're not going to bring this nation to Eretz Yisrael. What does it mean, this nation, this community? It's saying this one you're not going to, the one that's, no, sorry. Kol Hazeh means not the ones that were buried, but the ones that are ready to go to Eretz Yisrael, the younger generation, that were able to go to Eretz Yisrael. Hashem says, you're not going to them. Hazeh. Rather, who are you going to bring? Ela Sheyatzu Imach. Only those that the ones that went out with you from inside. This Kal, that's Eretz Yisrael, you're not going to bring to Eretz Yisrael. But the ones that went out of Mitzrayim with you, then you're going to bring to Eretz Yisrael, lost love when Mashiach comes. And it's a famous Indian, it's a famous Medrash, and of course we talk about basically how the Yidden in the Midbar is Moshe's Naked. There's two things going on here. First of all, it's almost as if the Rebbe is saying is, really you come to Eretz Yisrael. Really you come to Eretz Yisrael. But the problem is that people are going to say bad things. It's not going to look. People are going to say you went out of Mitzrayim, and you left them all behind. All the people you took out of Mitzrayim, and you came with a new daughter. And the Ikr is, and you're leaving them behind, and now they can't come to Eretz Yisrael. That's what people are going to say. But l'cha'ira, who cares what people are going to say? The main thing is that you need to bring them to Eretz Yisrael. You're the daughter that you tried. Right? So one more. That's one interesting thing. One interesting thing we need to think about. Another interesting is that in the mashal with the Roya, right, with the shepherd, it says people are going to say that you captured the sheep. So therefore, don't come into the palace. Now, very interesting. What did the Melech? How come the Melech didn't tell him? Go back and bring the sheep back. He doesn't mention a word about the sheep. Right with the Roya. He just says, if you come into the palace, you're going to come into the palace in. People are going to say that you captured the sheep. And therefore, what should you do? Nothing. Nothing. He doesn't say a word. He just says, don't come into the palace, because then people are going to say, you captured the sheep. Now, the Pashas, why didn't the Melech send him back? To go get the sheep? Because the Pashas, it was too late. They were gone. To get back. Not firing yet. He's just saying it, so therefore, what's left? What's left is, people shouldn't see you coming into the palace. People should think, so to say, that you're still trying to get the sheep back. Whatever, that's the mashmal. Let's think a second for Moshe Rabbeinu. What's the problem? Is the problem what people are going to say? He did a serious Aveda that the Medrash says before. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't do this Aveda. And Moshe Rabbeinu really did come to Israel. The only problem is this problem that the Medrash talks about here. That the Yidden came out and Moshe has to come with them, and that people it's not going to be Shabbat for Moshe Rabbeinu because people are going to say not nice things. But if the Yidden already died in the Midbar, so I don't understand. If the issue is that someone has to be able to take the Galus when Mashiach comes later on, right? So let Moshe Rabbeinu go to Eretz Yisrael. We see how important it was for Moshe Rabbeinu already down in so much tefillas to go to Eretz Yisrael. What the problem? When Mashiach comes, Moshe Rabbeinu will go back to the Midbar. I don't know if he has to go back or not go back. Why can't he go back afterwards? Why does he have to be buried in the Midbar, which is a Makkah, not Eretz Yisrael, not Eretz Yisrael? It wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael, by the way. According to some of the stories, it's not only because he wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael. He wanted to be buried in Eretz Yisrael, not in the Midbar. Because the Midbar is not a Hilukah plot. So why did Moshe Rabbeinu have to be buried in a Midbar, Ruchnius also, for thousands of years, so that when Mashiach comes, he's going to be able to take them out of Galus? Let him go to Eretz Yisrael. Let him bring the other Dorim to Eretz Yisrael. And Moshe Rabbeinu had a big reason. It says in the first he wanted to teach them the mitzvahs, Just that was his job. Moshe Rabbeinu was there to teach the Yidden how to serve the Eibishter. So when the Yidden comes to Eretz Yisrael, and the Iker Inyan of mitzvah start, Moshe Rabbeinu needs to be there to teach them how to do it. He says, no. Why? Because 3,000 years from now, you're going to have to take them out of Golos. So what's the problem? Why is he buried next to them in order to take them out of Golos? That's one very important question we have to understand. Another very important thing, another interesting nekuda, is that we see in the Golos, scientists this message, two interesting things. We see this Inyan of Sheva. Rebbe used to come to his house on Friday night after he passed away, right? When did he stop? When they found out. Why did he stop? Because how would he be Moitzi Laz? Because people would say that Rebbe is the Gretz Tzaddik. Because he's able to come down to this world, even after he passed away, able to come and make Kiddush and Moitzi his family, but the other tzaddikim can't. So what does it come out? It comes out that we see in the Gemara over there, special mile of Rebbe, special shavach, that the other tzaddikim don't have. And also over here, we see the medicine, and that's a big deal over there. After the whole thing stopped because of that. Because of this shavach. Also over here, we see that the whole reason Moshe Rabbeinu had to stay in the midbar with the Yidden, buried within the midbar, even though that was Hepech, his whole job, was why? So people shouldn't say. Here's what people are going to say. Yeah.
Win, and then bring the Yidden back. But it says also if he goes in, people will say that their midbar doesn't have to.
Right.
So,
Well, why not?
I don't know why not.
Well,
If you go-
Typical Mahab over here. Typical Mahab means they're not going to be able to get it in Golos. That's the pshat. Oil Mahab meaning.
Why they why? Why they can't go?
You have to understand it. In Mashma, it's Mashma here, that in order for the Yidden to get out of Golos, the only way they can get out of Golos is only if Moshe Rabbeinu stays with them in Golos. If Moshe doesn't stay with them in Golos, they won't be able to get out.
It's not only what people say.
Okay. And one last nekuda. Now I'm going to get a chance to ask my questions. Let me ask. One last nekuda. The letter that Rebbe, Chelik Chofalot is Kodesh. The Rebbe says like this.
Unlimited time.
Until
So
like
next
10:30.
Friday.
The last one down line.
What? We're going to read this letter and then.
Yeah, you have to explain what the.
That's what this with the line. Let's see this letter quickly, and then we're gonna. I'm not gonna be able to. At one foot. Okay. Let me right here. Baruch Hashem Yud Nissen Tavshin Yud. The letter that I have from Yud Nissen, the day before y'all here Tavshin Yud. This is a few after Yud Shvat. After Yud Shvat Tavshin Yud. It says Kibalti Mechtam Me'Vav Erev Shabbos Kodesh. I received your letter from Friday Erev Shabbos Kodesh. Udvarav Mabhilim. Your words are shocking. What is his words? He wrote to the Rebbe Eksav Kashus, telling the Rebbe that he wants that the Rebbe should accept him. And the Rebbe says, your word, Kvar Nisi La'echot, I already answered somebody, Shizeu Inyan Din becoming a Rebbe, and Din in the Fashis. Your matter of life and death. You do a Kama Chakinu Dvisha, tell no. How much Chakinu Dvisha you need when you talk about Din in the Fashis? I'm not getting into that part of the letter right now. But the Rebbe says Din in the Fashis, and therefore how could you even suggest such a thing? And how could you be not careful? You have to be very, very careful. You have to make sure you know what you're talking about before. Okay? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I was referring to there, but Pashas, I think the word is that they didn't know Pashas. You have to do everything you could to say. I think the Pashas were the reason. Did I explain in other letters? Did I explain in other Pashas by a Rebbe? What does that mean? What does that becoming a Rebbe? Because when you appoint somebody to be a Rebbe, means they're able to tell you to risk your life. A regular person can tell you to jump in the fire, but a Rebbe could. So when you're giving a whole millions of Yidden, thousands of Yidden, you're putting their lives in his hands, somebody's hands. You can't just do that. You have to make sure that it's okay, right? With Din Nefash, you have to try to save. So when you decide that the guy is actually meant to be killed, so to say, that he can give his life, there's a tremendous amount of Chakiro Dvisha before you actually decide that you have to give your life. When you accept a Rebbe upon yourself, it means essentially you're ready to give your life. The Rebbe said that you can't take such a thing lightly. Come on. Hey, and even though it's just a serious thing, you're writing and you're writing again and again. And the Rebbe comes. The Rebbe says, I'm sure that you have very good intentions, but still, this that I mentioned, all of you, the Rebbe's whoever the other thing they are, this that I mentioned all of by the tziyim, by the oil of the Rebbe. In other words, what's mashma from here is that the Rebbe was the oil, and the Rebbe mentioned the daven for the Chassidim. Daven, because he mentioned all their names, so they took it as a sign, the Chassidim took it as a sign, that the Rebbe is accepting the business. The Rebbe is coming to the oil, and he's davening for the Chassidim, so they took it as a sign that the Rebbe is taking himself to be the Rebbe. So the Rebbe says, This that I did that, this Mashis Karti as Kulam, Yisrael Atziyim, this that I did that, Ubli Neder, Esa came Gam Machar, and I'm going to do that tomorrow also. Who? Right, you know, listen, yeah? Who else good to friend? This that I did that, it's only as a good friend. There's don't think I did it because as a Rebbe. I did it as a good friend. When a Hakti came, and here's the Iker thing. When a Hakti came, I already did this for many years, even before this Talmud. I did this for a few years. Yeah? When I used to go into the office, into the room, right? Into the Yiddish room of the Fidi Kedem, go into his room, I used to also mention the name of the student. So I'm doing the same thing now. And just like before, I didn't go in to mention your names as a Rebbe. I went in as a good friend. Right? So too I'm doing now. The Rebbe's Mitzayim says, hey, Sefer Chassidim. And what does the Rebbe quote from the Sefer Chassidim there? The Rebbe skips the Baal Beisai, came to his house, etc. He just said, hey, Sefer Chassidim is in the U'poiter es harabim v'kiddush b'bgadim chamudei shahir leivish. What's the connection? Who was Poiter who? The Rebbe is talking about himself. Our Rebbe is talking about himself. He says, I was master you by the Friedrich Rebbe. I was master you what? Because I'm a good friend. And I used to do this for years. Look what the Sefer Chassidim says. That the Rebbe was Poiter the Rabbin. It sounds like this Poiter the Rabbin sounds like the Rebbe is talking about him mentioning the names. Right? Trying to be mighty them, so to say. Right? By the Friedrich Rebbe. Poiter the Rabbin is not talking about our Rebbe, he's talking about the Friedrich Rebbe. What does that do with anything? In Lukuta Sichas Chilek Beis, the famous Sikha over there so there's a famous Sikha, I can get into it right now. But over there the Rebbe talks about how Rengen, and the Rebbe said that the Friedrich Rebbe is listening to our Rengen, even though we're in a separate room, we're not in the room of the Friedrich Rebbe, so why are we for Rengen here? The Rebbe's Friedrich Rebbe wants to give Rengen, and the Friedrich Rebbe is listening from his room. Why? Because just like before, it's Erev Shabbos now, it was after Mincha, Erev Shabbos, and he says just like before it was for Rengen, and he says he did that one time, Erev Shabbos, the Friedrich Rebbe put a microphone or like some type of recorder in his room, so he should be able to hear the Sefer Rengen in the other room. So he says, so just like he did that then, he did that now also like it's done Sefer Chassidim. And the Rebbe quotes Sefer Chassidim, that Rebbe come even after his style, he's to come to his family. So the Rebbe says that the Friedrich Rebbe is doing the same thing. Just like before, he would sit in his room, now he's also sitting in his room. So now if you think about what the Rebbe is answering, it says, that what did I do before this Talmud, before Yitzchak? I used to come to Heichel Kakanur. There was Heichel, to his room, the same Heichel that he talks about there in the Sefer Chassidim. That the Sefer Chassidim says his place, he used to come to his place after Chosek. What's the place of Friedrich Rebbe? His Yichidus room.